put the denominator back with it. And since they have the same square roots, I just divided the first numbers, and then that gave me negative 45. And since they have the same square roots, I just X'd that out and just kept negative 45.
Very nice. So, now I will want to explain that this is like, there's a couple different ways to do this, but Denia, awesome job with this. We need to recognize that this square root of 3 in the denominator can't happen. That's not in its simplest form when we have this square root of 3 in the denominator. Okay? So what Denia did is she decided to break down this square root of 75 till it becomes square root of 3, so we can just cancel out the square roots of 3. Okay? That's perfect. That's one way to do it. I'm going to help with the other way to do it as well. Yeah?
I thought with like a negative, you had to like turn it to like the I thing.
That's when there's a negative under the radical. So in this case, we had a negative 4, but that negative 4 isn't under that radical. So that's why we don't have the I in this particular case. All right, that being said, I'm going to do this slightly different. And I'm gonna pick it up from here though, okay? Are we all comfortable being able to simplify that square root of 75? Okay? So, we're not comfortable with it? With the 75, okay, I'll break it down. I'm going to go 25 and 3. Keep it slightly different. So we have 36 times the square root of 25 times 3. And then I'm going to leave all of that at the top. And at the bottom, I'm going to keep this negative 4 times the square root of 3. Okay? Now, from here, the most common way that I have been teaching is we have to get this radical out of the denominator. So in order to do that, I'm going to multiply by a factor of 1. So I'm just going to take some of this out. So if I need to multiply by a factor of 1 to figure out how can I get that square root out of my denominator, what factor of 1 am I going to use? And what I mean by factor of 1, I mean a number that's in both the numerator and the denominator that is exactly the same. Yeah, Ariana. What'd you say? You don't know? Root 3, but then finish that up.
I don't know if you asked me.
Okay, so if I need to multiply by a factor of 1, what I'm talking about is that you need to multiply this radical. Okay?
Oh, so 3.
Yes, by the square root of 3, but I'm saying it needs to be over, this square root of 3 needs to be multiplied by both the numerator and the denominator. If I just multiply like the numerator by the square root of 3, this whole answer changes. We would get a different value. And we're not trying to get a different value, we're trying to simplify. So, I need to multiply both the top and the bottom of my fraction by the square root of 3. This is what I mean by a factor of 1. The square root of 3 over square root of 3. We good there? Does that make sense? Head nods? Great. Great, great, great. Okay. So, and again, the reason I'm choosing the square root of 3 is because I have a square root of 3 in the denominator. So therefore, I know that the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 becomes what? 3, positive 3. So that's why I choose it in the first place. So before I kind of start merging everything together, I'm going to leave it as such. 25 times 3 from my original, and then I'm multiplying it by another square root of 3. So my numerator should look something like this. 36